Hey guys, I'm Ash and I'm the daughter,
I'm Liz, and I'm the mom.
and this is The Lesser Known.
Off the map. So for today's Off the Map episode for our Whatever Wednesdays, we are going to talk about weird coincidences. Like, are we somehow all connected?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you feel that
Yeah.
way, but...
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that definitely happens.
So when we were back in Illinois, I worked at a civil defense firm, and we represented insurance companies. So basically, like, if someone sued a doctor or sued like a trucking company or something like that, we would represent the doctor or the trucking company for people who were suing for like wrongful death or whatever. I worked on this case where there was a 38-year-old mother of three, and she went in for a routine surgery. So during the surgery, the doctor nicked an artery, and she was slowly bleeding. And by the time they realized what happened, it was too late, and she died. And
That's so sad.
it was terrible because she was young too. And at the time, that's about how old I was. So, it was kind of like I related because I was in my 30s, I had kids, and she left behind, three little kids. So that was terrible. And even though we represented the doctor, it was still hard because it's like, you know that she has kids and has a family, and, it obviously was the doctor's fault. So it was
really
pretty
sad.
traumatizing for the whole office because it wasn't just like we're like, oh, we're going for the doctor. I mean, we felt bad, like even though we're representing him, it's still, it's very, like, it had a huge impact on all of us. So the husband and kids ended up getting a few $1,000,000. I don't remember the exact amount. They ended up going to trial and all that. So fast forward about 8 years, and I was working for a different company. I went to an outdoor country music concert with one of the attorneys that I was working for at the time. And we were walking back, and it was a pretty long walk back, and this car pulls up on the side of us. And there was a guy and a girl in the car, and they were like, hey, you guys look like nice people. Do you want to ride? And I don't know what I don't know what possessed us to say yes, because the attorney that I was with is a prosecutor. I am a paralegal who we prosecute criminal cases. So, like, that is not something that I would typically do. So I don't know why, but we said yes. And
I wouldn't have thought that you would have done that.
God, I honestly don't know. It was weird. It's not something that I would normally do. It was just a very strange situation. So we said yes. We got in the car. For some reason, we started talking about like our family situations and, like good and bad. Because, how it is. Like when you're talking to your Uber driver or something, and you're like, oh, hey, where are you guys from? What are you doing? And the girl was like, yeah, well, my dad became an alcoholic when my mom died. So we kind of had a rough childhood. And we're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. All the stuff you say, like you feel bad. And then she went on to say, my mom went in for a routine surgery and the doctor messed up her surgery and she bled to death. And so I'm like, weird, because I was like, I remember we had a case like that. That's kind of weird. Yeah. And then I was like, I wonder. And then she went on to say, she was like, yeah, my mom was super young. She was in her 30s, and my dad was left to take care of all three of us. And I was sitting there thinking, no way. This cannot be the same person. And sure enough, completely by chance, the girl that happened to pick us up was the daughter of the woman who died in surgery on that case I worked on.
That's crazy.
So that alone was wild. But then the attorney that I was there with, she's like, wait, was that doctor, gave the name? And the girl was like, yeah, it was. And it turns out that the attorney that was there with me, that was one of the first cases she ever watched a trial of. Like she was at the trial.
So everyone was involved.
Yes. So somehow all of these years later, we're all from like totally different walks of life. We were all in the same car together. Obviously, none of us expected this, but somehow we were like all connected in this bizarre like triangle. It was like that full circle moment where it was like, oh my God, we kind of all know each other in some
That's super
bizarre
weird.
way. And it's a situation that I wouldn't have typically been in, like getting in a car with a stranger.
Did you tell them that you defended the
Yeah.
doctor? Or no? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we all like ended up explaining because they told their story and I was like, oh, weird. And then somehow we figured it out. We all knew, like, we were all talking about the exact same case, situation, family, and everything. It was insane.
How many years later was this?
Um, I want to say it was probably around 8 years later.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a long time.
Yeah. And it was just weird because, like when we were working on this case, you're thinking about these poor kids and like, oh my gosh, they have to grow up without a mom and all this stuff. And like, literally, I'm here meeting one of them
Mm-hmm.
like this many years later. Yeah. So it just makes you wonder how many times that happens and you don't even know about it. But we just happen to all put it together. But if we wouldn't have brought up our families, we would have had no idea.
Yeah. I've thought about that too, because I feel like that has happened. Well, maybe it was kind of a sign so that you know that they were okay. You know what I mean? Like, since it weighed
Hmm.
like really heavily on everyone there. So maybe that was
Maybe.
like a sign, like,
Could
they're
be.
okay. Yeah. My weird occurrences. So when I first started applying for pilot positions, the very first interview that I ever had was at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. I remember like going into it and I was super unprepared. Like I bombed the interview. And I think I was flying out to see you that same day, so I was also feeling rushed. So I remember going into it. I barely studied because I didn't know what they were going to ask. And it was just typical interview questions like, tell me about yourself. And I remember my tell me about yourself was like, oh, I'm Ashley. I like to travel. I want to live in a camper van. And that's it. That was like literally it. It was like maybe two sentences. And so then I see them like nod and look at me and be like, okay, well, I guess
Yeah.
we'll write something down. And then every other question after that was just kind of like I don't know, like a like one word or one line answer. And it felt so stupid.
Once your groove is off, your groove is off. And then it's like
Well,
the rest of the time is going to, right. You had
I
no
had no
groove.
groove ever to begin with in this interview. So it was just like from the get go off. So I remember the interview took maybe 8 minutes.
Oh my
Maybe.
God.
That's like even pushing it. It was terrible. So then I called you and I was like, nah, I didn't get it. I already knew. And then during that interview, I met someone who was also applying and we were in the same position. It was both our first interviews. So we started talking, we became friends, we got each other's number. He actually got hired, but then something happened and he ended up not being able to get hired there. We lost touch after like a year. We didn't really talk that much. And then last year, I went to Wyoming, but when I was visiting the unit, I saw the same guy there and we reconnected. We like became friends again and we were keeping up with each other's progress and whatnot. And we both interviewed. We both got an interview. So we were there together. I ended up getting the position in Wyoming, but something fell through on my end. So I ended up not being a pilot there. Fast forward to now. So a whole year later, me and him still talk. And I ended up getting hired at Scott, where we first met, and he got hired at Wyoming, where I got hired. So we both got hired at like the like different
Same
places, but then it
time,
ended up
but
being
like
the same. Like and at
opposite.
the same time. Yeah, like everything was the same. Like we just switched places where we were going and yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, so are you guys keeping in touch like with having to get like go through the training and stuff? Or like are you going to be do you think you'll end up in the same school even because of all this?
I'm hoping that we'll be in the same school because I know we both have to get like waivers for some things. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping, but we'll see. Cuz right now we're in line to go together. So it would just be crazy that 5 years later we both end up going. So I hope
That
so.
part would be crazy. So it's like not
Mhm.
only like your first interview and then that was his first interview too, you said, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then we knew each other for our first interview and for our last.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
I
then
know
maybe through
it's
school.
yeah, that would be really cool
That's
to graduate together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow like we're meant to connect with certain people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you feel that way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that definitely happens. Like at different times in your life, you connect with different people for some reason.
I agree. Guess we'll see you for Sunday Scaries. I got one
Sunday
too.
Scaries.
I get a good a listener story for Sunday Scaries about a hotel.
Can we use their name for next time?
I think he said we could. It was a long time ago when I got this story, and we've been putting it off because we haven't done our shorter episodes. But I think he said that I could use his name. I'll make sure. I'll write him again and make sure. But he wrote in on Instagram. So yeah, if you guys ever want to do that too, if you have any interesting stories or whatever you want us to share, you can write us on Instagram.
Yeah, it could be for whatever Wednesday and Sunday Scaries.
I'm actually really excited about Sunday Scaries. I've always wanted to tell like ghost stories and stuff, so
Yeah.
that's kind of my jam. Okay,
All right.
well, see you guys then.
See you then.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.